Hello and welcome to a new episode of the BCE mod reveal. As last time we showed you basically how the BCE mods worked and what you could do in it, and I decided to go already for a beta of the mods. So in this episode I'm gonna show you how the mod looks at its first release, which will be in the link download below, and it will be the first release for the beta of the mod. The BCE mod is a mod focused on the year 1000 BC. Since this is just a beta, it will only have one scenario, and it's this one. And as time passes, of course, there will be more scenarios added to it, and of course events and stuff like that. But for now, it's just a normal mod with a new map that focuses on an old area of the world, old time, of course, 1000 BC, before Christ, for those that do not know what BC means. And of course that does mean that it will take a bit to make it into a full-fledged mod like Age of Imperialism. But do not fret, because I have been working on another mod lately, and the people on my Discord are probably more aware of that than this one, which is the Napoleonic Wars mod, or the French Revolution mod, call it as you may. And that mod will be released in a bit more time, and it will have events. It will have many different countries, many different new mechanics, a whole new UI. In practice, it will be very good to look at, and it will be very good to play as, and that will be for future. But for now, I'm not gonna release it because I need a lot of time to work on that one, and I do not have that time for now. And I already worked on this one. So this is the beta of this mod, BCE mod. In order for you to play the BCE mod and enjoy it, and once you get bored of it, you'll be able to play the Napoleonic Wars mod if you want it. And yeah, so today I'm just gonna show you around the map and maybe we'll play a game. So in its current version, the BCE mod has 132 civilizations in the game. It's almost completely historically accurate, so I try to show basically all Bronze Age cultures or peoples that existed in 1000 BC. There are many different types of governments, and we'll be looking at them better once the game actually starts. So just to illustrate how the mod looks, I'm gonna play for now as some random civilization. Just gonna put like random and maybe something else. Yeah, okay, the Kogotas, just have a decent example. So let's get these things like this. There will not be any needing for the 0% aggressiveness. You can keep the aggressiveness as it is, and yeah, that's basically it. So first thing you see when playing this mod is the fact that it is a completely redone mod basically when it comes to the map. So the map has not the one you can see in the original game, instead it is a complete new one. And this one has only the old world and the places in the old world that were inhabited by the time. So as you can see, like Siberia and this northern part of Russia, and like the Mongolian steppes are really not inhabited by anyone, or if there were any some people, they were not civilized in the means of like just having discover agriculture and things like that. They do not have one. They didn't have it, so it's not there. And there are a lot of territories where people just weren't enough just to have a civilization. So you can see like parts of India, parts of China, parts of course the Arabian Desert, most of Africa, and things like this. But there were places, and especially simple places, where civilization really was having bits of a revival. Because after the Bronze Age collapse, a lot of civilizations were starting to fall and were destroyed. And after the Bronze Civilization collapse, what happened was that some civilizations started to rebuild. So in 1000 BC, you had a lot of civilizations that were completely destroyed and were trying to rebuild their power. So we have things like ancient Egypt. It was very influenced by the Bronze Age collapse, but wasn't destroyed, and it's a theocracy. There were things like the biblical kingdom of Israel, which is another theocracy. After the biblical kingdom of Israel, you can see things like Babylon. Babylon was an absolute monarchy. It almost fell, like the empire fell, but it managed to resist somewhat. Assyria fell, the Assyrian Empire fell, but it managed to remain with its core territories. Another very big empire of the time that fell, and that was very detrimental to the area, was the Hittite Empire. And the Hittite Empire still exists somewhat in this mod, and it's the Neo-Hittite. The Neo-Hittite were like the successor states of the Hittite Empire. Eventually, when the mod will be complete, this empire will probably break apart, because of course it was just not really viable to remain united in those times. You just had the entire Neo-Hittite collapse. Then we have the Nairi tribes, which will eventually reform into the Proto-Armenians, or the Kingdom of Urartu, and many other civilizations like the Western Iranians, the Eastern Iranians, that would eventually create Iran and the Persian Empire, where all the Indian civilizations, of course the Chinese dynasties already existed, like the Zhou dynasty, Jomon culture in Japan, and so on. And of course Europe was just starting its civilization route. Like, it already had some civilizations, but they were mostly tribal. So if you go to the actual government map mode, you can see which civilizations are what. So in the green, you can see those are the tribes of the world. So those are all tribes. They are tribal governments, they have low populations, extremely low populations, they are disunited and need to civilize. Like ourselves, Kogotas, which was an Iberian civilization. And in the other map modes we have things like tribal monarchies, then we have nations. Nations are settled tribes. So if you have a nation, it's still a tribe, but it's settled, so it doesn't move around, and it has a bigger population. We have monarchies, absolute monarchies, city-states all around, plutocracies, which were basically republics that based themselves on trade, even some republics in India, and some elected monarchies. And that was basically it. So, that said, as you can see, we are a non-civilized nation. Our objective is to achieve absolute monarchy, and we will do that by gaining tech points, basically. And tech points can only be gained through research. So for now we will only have to get some money and then to immediately invest it into research. And that's basically it. As you can see, the Iberian Peninsula was pretty interesting. We had the Proto-Iberians, which were like the ancestors of the non-Indo-European Iberians. We had the very important plutocracy of Tartesso, which was basically the only major civilization in like the entirety of Western Europe. And we had like the nation of Tapuria. Then we had the Proto-Bascones, which were basically the original Basque people. So for now we don't need an army, we'll just be disbanding it. And for now you basically just have to chill and just look at the rest of the world do their thing until you can civilize. You can attack and expand other, into other uncivilized tribes. So like the Proto-Bascones, the Proto-Iberians, and from there like the Ligures, the Arnfield culture. You can do that, but it's just preferable for yourself just for now to, you know, keep just migrating and gaining tech points. So you can establish a monarchy, and from then on you can basically be like every other major state. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't want to really keep going on this because I basically said everything you can really do, and you can really do. There still are the events of Magda, so if you want to play as Magda you will have some events, but the rest of the civilization don't have events because I'm working on the other mod. I will update this mod and add more features to it, but that will come with time. So yeah, I hope you download the mod and you'll have fun with it. But for now, we're just gonna say goodbye to each other for now. So yeah, goodbye.